the fighting city of Philadelphia, it's time for Braves baseball. Today, Atlanta begins a 4-game weekend set here at soggy Citizens Bank Park. It's the Braves and the suddenly red-hot Philadelphia Phillies meeting in Game 1 tonight. Hi again, friends. Joe and Chip. Nothing's going on. Nothing whatsoever in Braves country.
Ball two.
Ball two, yeah. Well, we're still here. A lot of very familiar faces aren't for the Braves. The Braves, Marlins, and Dodgers pulled off a blockbuster. That trade finally consummated about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. It's a biggie, and it's frankly a franchise-changing one for the Atlanta Ball Club.
In many ways, a lot of faces that you're familiar with going to Los Angeles, some that you don't know a whole lot about coming back to Atlanta. But look at this roster of names. Hector Olivera is the keynote here for the Atlanta Braves. They tried to sign him in the offseason. He's a second baseman / third baseman from Cuba, but he is the big part of this deal for the Braves, and they had to give up a lot to get him, granted. But also for the Braves, you see Bronson Arroyo going to L.A. L.A.'s going to pick up a lot of the salary that the Braves inherited from the Diamondbacks, so that clears a lot of room to perhaps do some other things. I don't know that the Braves are done. They've got another day, about 24 hours or so, to get something else done. Wouldn't surprise me to see them make another move or two.
It's going to be an interesting 24 hours, to say the least. Both the Braves and our opponent, the Phillies, have been busy on the trade front. Our deal is done. The Phillies' big deal isn't. We'll talk about that and more as we get you set for lineups and first pitch from the Bank Vault next. And the Phillies, game 1 of 4. Atlanta so far on a 1-5 road trip. Got to find some offense, and hopefully Nick Markakis and company will do just that. He leads off Freddie's Academy Sports and Outdoors starting 9. Adonis Garcia cleans up. A.J. Przinsky is behind the plate. Chris Johnson at third base. Shelby Miller would love some run support. And we'll see what Atlanta can do against an old friend, right-hander Aaron Harang.
Aaron makes his first start since July 1st. He's been battling plantar fasciitis, and he got up to a good start for the Phillies, just like he did for the Braves last year. But since June and July, it has been ugly. 0-6 with an 8.31 ERA. 37 years old, 6'7", 260 out of San Diego. 2 starts against the Braves this year. He's only given up 1 run in 14 innings to them. Contact guy, as you recall. Sinker, slider, curveball, kitchen sink. Mutton chops.
Classic cars. All that stuff. And Aaron's first pitch of the night is up and outside, and we are underway. Very muggy night in Philadelphia. Heavy rain showers greeted us when we left the team hotel around 4 o'clock today. And the rain stopped here about an hour ago. Field was covered. Infield looks to be in good shape. We'll see about the outfield as the night progresses. And that's in for a strike. It's now 2-1. It's been a while since Aaron Harang has started. It's been a longer while since Aaron Harang has won. He's riding an 8-game losing streak. And he's 4-11. Popped up and playable for Ben Revere, who's in left field now for the Phillies. Different look in the pasture for the Fightins. Revere in left, Odubel Herrera in center, and Dominic Brown is the right fielder with a right-hander on the mound. Howard, Hernandez, Galvis, and Michael Franco around the horn, and Carlos Ruiz is behind the plate.
They're playing their best baseball of the year right now. Since the break, they're 9-2.
Getting good pitching, timely hitting, and have outscored their opponents by 16 runs in those 11 games. That is a dramatic difference from what's happened to the Phillies all season long. Entering play tonight, they've been outscored by 144 runs in 102 games. Swing and a miss by Maven, and it's an even count.
That last start for Harang on July 1st against Milwaukee, 5 innings, 14 hits, and 8 runs.
Maven slashed one out of play foul. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Atlanta knows all about Aaron Harang and the good job he did in rotation for the Braves last year. Always a very durable starting pitcher. And that's what the Phillies were counting on from Harang this year. They knew Cole Hamels was going to be at the top of the rotation. After that, a lot of question marks. And unfortunately for the Phillies, plantar fasciitis is what sent Aaron to the disabled list. First start since July 1st in the big leagues for the burly Phillies right-hander. 2-2 pitch moves Maven off the plate. Popped him up. And who wants it? It'll be Dominic Brown. He's got it. 2 down. Well, Freddie Freeman has swung the bat great against the Phillies this year. He's got 9 hits against them. He was 1 for 14 in the series in Baltimore. That one hit a homer. Freddie's still looking for his timing. Let's see if Aaron Harang helps him find it. And it missed upstairs. Brian Gorman has the plate tonight, by the way. 1 ball, no strikes.
Freddie says he's this close, with thumb and forefinger held close together, to being on schedule timing wise.
There's a shot down the right field line, but he pulled it just foul. I'll bet you that's all it takes to be an out or a hit in the major leagues. That skosh, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
That unit of measurement, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's all about trusting your hands when you've been out like he has.
Phillies have a shift on for Freddie, and he fouled that one away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Braves are 5-4 against the Phillies on the year. Lost 2 out of 3 here their first visit.
There's ground ball for Freddie Freeman, and that will end the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Aaron Harang. Shelby Miller goes to work for the Braves, looking for win number 6 tonight. .38 wins, 64 losses, but 23 of their wins have come at home. So that's a special challenge for Braves starter Shelby Miller, who has seen his share of those in his last 12 or 13 starts.
This poor guy hasn't won since May 17th when he almost threw that no-hitter in Miami. No run support whatsoever. 6 career starts against the Phillies. Outstanding numbers, a 2.03 ERA. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Number 1, kind of obvious, isn't it? Don't even have to go there. Number 2, familiar foe. He's already pitched twice against the Phillies this year. Only 2 runs allowed in 21-plus innings. He knows these guys, and he knows how the ball jumps in this ballpark.
And the first man he'll face is left fielder Ben Revere. And Miller delivers a strike. The numbers are astounding as far as the lack of offense for Shelby Miller when he's in the game. Now to play foul. The Braves have not scored a run, any kind of run, earned, unearned, in now 42 1/3 innings with Shelby Miller on the mound, including a scoreless first tonight. A little tapper toward first, that's foul. And Joe Shelby coming off what had to be a very emotional start against the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Standing ovation for him when he entered the game, standing ovation for him when he left the game. But once again, he allowed 1 run, and that was enough to lose.
That's all it took. Pitched a great ball game, though. 7 1/3 innings of 2-hit, 1-run ball. And one of those hits was the first hit, first at bat of the game. And then in the 8th, that single by Molina that led to a run.
That's tapped off the plate. That's going to be real trouble. Unbelievable. Base hit for Ben Revere, a Baltimore chop here in Philadelphia. 1 on, nobody out. Here's the rest of the lineup for the Phillies offensively. Pete McCannon is their interim manager. Took over June 26th for Ryan Sandberg, who stepped down. Cesar Hernandez bats second. Not always worried about Ryan Howard. Braves killer is the cleanup man on their Academy Sports starting 9.
Yeah, he's done some damage against Shelby. 5 for 14 with 3 long ones.
Cesar Hernandez is the Phillies' second baseman, batting .270, a homer, 23 runs batted in. That is a fair ball. Hernandez didn't run. He's an easy out. Runner to second, 1 down. Nice play by A.J. Przinsky to check out the English on the ball off the plate. And an easy peg to first for out number 1.
Well, at least Revere ran. He didn't wait to see what was going to happen. I don't know what Hernandez thought had happened there that caused him to stand and watch, but he gets the sacrifice.
And it brings up Michael Franco, the Phillies' third baseman, the June Rookie of the Month in the National League. He hit 8 home runs in June. And this one's tapped toward third as Johnson charges and throws on the run. And there's the sack and out. Look at the rest of the Braves infield and outfield defense, brought to you by CPI Security. Atlanta's outfield: Garcia, Maven, and Markakis. Chris Johnson and Freeman, the corner infielders. Simmons and Peterson up the middle, and A.J. again behind the plate.
By and large, defense has been good. They're making an error here and there, but nothing that's real blatant.
And here's that man, Ryan Howard. 6 hits against the Braves this year, 3 of them home runs.
Yeah, I wouldn't let him in this situation do any damage.
First one off the plate, 1 ball, no strikes. It's no secret the Phillies would love to move Ryan Howard and what's left of still a gigantic contract. To this point, there have been no takers.
Never heard his word mentioned in any type of trade deadline rumors.
But the deadline is 4 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, 4 o'clock p.m. that is. Those very impressive numbers for the Phillies first baseman. Strike at the knees. Good pitch.
Keeping the ball away from him. You've got to be careful with that because he loves to get his arms extended. And in this bandbox, he can go the other way and hit it out without any trouble. Neither team able to take batting practice on the field. One of the great things about modern stadiums, indoor cages.
Miller, a long look in for the sign with a 2-2 pitch. And it missed away. Odubel Herrera, the center fielder, waits next. Ben Revere with a Baltimore chop. Single to start the game, was sacrificed to second. Franco couldn't drive him in with a ground ball out to Chris Johnson at third base. And he lost Howard, overthrew that fastball. 2 on, 2 out. And here is Herrera.
Shelby wasn't upset about the walk. He was upset about the fact that he didn't make this close enough to get Howard to offer.
For a Phillies team that's trying to get young, I would say Odubel Herrera has been a very nice find for them. A Rule 5 pick out of the Texas Rangers organization. He's hit .278 in his first big league season. 4 homers, 26 knocked in.
And remember that pitcher they used to have, the left-hander, Hamels,
yeah,
was his name?
Yeah, that guy
had the no-hitter last week, and this guy made the crazy catch in center field to end the game.
Yeah, the last out of the game was headed for straightaway center, and Herrera went to the warning track and had to dive back toward the infield for the 27th out for the still current Philly, Cole Hamels.
Yeah, technically you're right.
Right.
I just know that if he hadn't caught it, there would have been a dog pile, but it would have been out in center field, beating him up.
As you saw, he's done a nice job in run scoring situations for the Phillies. When we first saw Philadelphia, he was leading off for them. Now he's hitting 5th. And Shelby just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Won't take much to work up a good lather, so economy tonight is important too.
That's out of play left side. And 2 fans have almost an entire section to themselves down by the foul pole. And that'll be prime foul ball territory with the left-handed hitters. And Shelby Miller pitching.
That was a good pitch he spoiled there. This guy's got a lot of talent. He plays wild, he swings wild, but he can run, he can throw. He's a converted infielder. Looks like they stole a pretty good one away from the Rangers.
Surprised me, he's only struck out 72 times this year, 284 at bats. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And another headed for that virtually empty section.
Everybody gets a ball.
Kid in the red shirt saying, "Where's mine?"
Yeah, but look how his brother was. Man, that is a coveted possession already. Way to go, Dad.
Pitch number 20 coming up for Shelby Miller. That one's slicing toward the corner. And a leaping try by Adonis Garcia, but he can't make the play.
Like it hit right on the railing. Oh, it did, just out of his reach. Shelby's ERA coming into the game 2.27. 4th best in the National League, and yet he's 5-7.
A 1-2 count. Another foul ball. Well, the 2 men facing off tonight are last and next to last in the National League in terms of run support. Miller is last. Aaron Harang is next at 2.62 runs per game.
Well, we go to the 13th, scoreless.
If Herrera doesn't make it out pretty soon, I don't think he's going to make it 13. Putting up a great fight here in the first inning. He's got 8 hits against Braves pitching this year. Two and two. Pitch number 10 of the at bat coming up. To second, and Peterson will flip to Simmons, and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left, no score. Garcia, Pierzynski, and Chris Johnson are coming up. Don't forget, stick around with us tonight. Top of the 3rd inning. John Hart will join us via telephone from Trade Command Center, Orlando. Talk about the consummation of our big deal with the Dodgers and Marlins. Couple of homers, couple of RBIs for Garcia, and he reaches out and pokes one toward left. And there's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, the oddity about that 3-team trade is that typically it's like goes in a circle. These guys go over this team to that team. It goes in a circle to round out everybody's wish list. This was everybody going to LA, and then they'll scatter who they send off to the other 2 teams.
And the Dodgers had to wait to announce the trade from their end because they had to manipulate the roster to fit everybody on their 25-man group. And they have announced that they have designated for assignment Brandon Beachy, Chris Heisey, Chinwe Sao, and newly acquired Michael Morse. So they have 10 days to send them to the minor leagues, release them, or trade them. In the case of Morse, Joe, he's making a lot of money, but as we know with the Dodgers, money's no object for them. High pop off the bat of AJ. Howard drifts out, and he'll be called off. Cesar Hernandez is there, 2 away.
Yeah, by doing that now, though, there might be some teams that would like to pick up Mike Morse before the deadline.
Chris Johnson at 233 and 0 for his last 13. One ball, no strikes.
Aaron's always been good at going softer and softest on one pitch. You can change speeds on one pitch and make it very effective that way.
Three balls, one strike. Five up, 5 down for Aaron Harang to start the night.
I really thought somebody, and maybe they have, I don't know, would come calling for Chris, especially an American League team that could employ him as a DH or platoon him at either first or third and wear out some left-handed pitching.
Well, he wore out a righty there. His first hit in a while. First hit for the Braves. Big turnaround first. And Brown will hold Johnson to a single. And maybe they have. That's something we can ask John Hart when he joins us. There's the first Braves base runner of the night. Jace Peterson will step in. Jace is hitting .242 with 3 homers and 41 knocked in. He's had good luck against Phillies pitching. 9 hits, 3 RBIs. And a strike. There's a base hit by Peterson with 2 outs. Chris Johnson cuts the bag at second. He's on his way to third. And the Braves have men at the corners with 2 outs. So Jace's series off to a good start. And now Andrelton Simmons with the pitcher to follow.
Yeah, and with that runners at first and third on a hanging breaking ball, Shelby Miller's getting excited over there in the dugout at the prospects. Or maybe a single run. Andrelton's been swinging a great bat, 13 for his last 39.
There's a base open. It happens to be second. Let's see how Harang works with the Brave shortstop. Strike 1. Wide and caught at second. Simmons just missed. No luck for Atlanta. 2 stranded in the top of the inning.
Get outfield seats to the August 6th and October 1st games, field passes to see Billy Currington and Sam Hunt up close, and an exclusive Braves Country t-shirt, all for just $70. A savings of over $40 off the regular price. Ticket packs are limited, so visit Braves.com/country to get yours today.
Braves got a pair of 2-out hits but couldn't push across the first run. Let's see how Shelby Miller fares in inning number 2. Odubel Herrera gave him some trouble. It was a 10-pitch at bat. Shelby's thrown 23 pitches in total so far. They face Freddie Galvis to lead things off. Of all the Phillies, this guy has given the Braves the most trouble. Galvis is 15 for 34, a .441 average against Braves pitching. And we've seen him make several spectacular acrobatic plays at shortstop. Launched foul, strike to Galvis. 2-1 the count. It's no secret, Joe, the Phillies are in a state of flux. They're going to have a new team president when the season's over. Andy McPhail has been hired, but he's watching and evaluating. See what needs to be done. They have a huge decision as far as the fate of Ruben Amaro Jr. He's the Phillies general manager in the last year of his contract. They have to make a decision on Pete McCannon or someone else to be their field manager. And that's before they even begin to address how to put this ball club in this franchise back together with quality major league talent.
Chase Utley on the disabled list, still unable to play, but still hauling down some big coin along with Ryan Howard, and how they adjust all that, how they put that Rubik's cube together for this Phillies team. It almost looked like Galvis swung at that pitch and hit it rather than get hit with the pitch.
And he is hobbling. Let's see where it got him. Right there, he said.
Yeah, he heard you. It wasn't that far inside, but a direct shot right off the shin bone.
Tell you what, athletic trainers have gotten a lot nicer in the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, it seems to me as a kid, when a player would foul a ball off that part of the body, the trainer would come over and just immediately start poking that area. Just put it right. Is it right here? No. Yeah, right there.
They were all trained by my mother.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Right here. Is this where it hurts?
And
that
then
was a direct shot, boy.
Yeah, and then they bring out that silver can of that freezing stuff, and just
ethyl chloride.
Yeah, that's it. High fly ball lifted out toward Garcia and left, and Adonis is there. There's the first out. That was all arms by Galvis, but he hit it a long way. One down. Here's Dominic Brown. This guy, I think, is a huge question for the Phillies. Do they keep him? Do they let him go? All-Star, one half of a season a few short years ago, but no home runs for Dominic Brown this year in 118 at-bats. Spent some time in the minor leagues, try to get him going offensively. Did a little better of late, 10 hits in his last 7 games. But is Dominic Brown an all-star caliber player or someone that needs a fresh start someplace else?
Well, his fall off in the power numbers would be the proverbial red flag for a lot of teams. You know, what's going on with that? Why isn't the ball jumping out of the park, especially in Philadelphia? It's about the 3rd time Shelby's done that already, where he's tried to throw that high, shoulder high pitch to get him to chase and miss badly in the right-handed batter's box.
Brown was an all-star in 2013 for the Phillies. He had 27 home runs. Last year, he hit 10 homers with almost 475 at-bats. And none this year. 1-2 pitch. Just missed the corner.
Watch Brian Gorman call strikes tonight. I think he's a pretty good ball and strike umpire. But one of the things he does that I really like is that he doesn't always try to set up and move with the catcher to get on the inside shoulder. Wherever AJ goes, doesn't matter. Brian just sits right there in the middle.
To short. Tricky hop, but Andrelton stayed with it. And Brown is out by a step. 2 away for Carlos Ruiz. There's a look at the Braves bullpen. Not as heavily populated now as it will be shortly. With the trade with the Dodgers wrapped up, the Braves made some roster moves. Jake Brigham is here. Ryan Kelly is on his way, as is left-handed pitcher Matt Marksberry. Kelly and Marksberry also coming up from Gwinnett. And a nice milestone for Carlos Ruiz. Game number 1,000. He bats here with 2 out. And he jumps on the first pitch and hits it toward right center. Cameron Maybin says he's got it, and he does. Miller has a 1-2-3 second. He'll lead off the third, and John Hart will be joining us from Orlando. A player like Alex Wood to the Dodgers today.
Yeah, and listen, first of all, we love the player we got back. Obviously, Oliveira and Wood were the 2 key players in the deal. We felt that, at least I felt that this deal was the first of a building block to begin to put an offensive club together that's going to have some teeth. And so I think in Oliveira, this is a guy that we scouted numerous times. We had Roy Clark, Gordon Blakely, all of our top guys down there. Freddie was down there 2 or 3 times. We really like this guy's bat. We think he's a professional hitter. We think he can hit in the middle of the lineup. This is a winning player. It's a good makeup guy. And so looking at it, that, obviously we bid heavy on him in the winter. We would have liked to have had him before having to make a trade for him, but we went after him hard during the winter, didn't get him. and really believe in this player. So I think Oliveira for us was the key. I think obviously trading Alex Wood, very difficult for us to do, but at the end of it, we've traded for a lot of pitching, and we knew at some point we're going to have to trade pitching to get some bats. So, and I think the other piece of the deal, obviously Paco Rodriguez we like the young pitcher we got, but we like the 35th pick in the country, the first-round draft pick, to go along with our other first-rounder that we're keeping an eye on, continuing to build our system from the ground up. And this deal accomplished both things for us. It gets us closer to winning, and painful to give up the guys that we have. This was probably the most painful trade we've had to make here, but at the end of it, we really like the player we got.
John, this is Joe. I'm curious. I know that he's been battling a bit of a hamstring strain, or at least that's what we were told, talking about Oliveira. How soon do you foresee him being with the big club?
Well, Joe, it's a great question. We probably feel we're going to get him down to Florida, and he'll continue his rehab. It's a very mild hamstring pull, but we're probably looking another 10 days. We'll get him out on some rehab, let him get some at-bats. And I would imagine somewhere between mid-August to the 20th, 25th that this guy has a chance to come back and make his major league debut here with us, and cut his teeth up here for the next the last 6 weeks of the season.
Back-to-back hits for the Braves. Shelby Miller slides in safely at second ahead of a single by Nick Markakis. The Braves in business, 2 on with nobody out.
You've got 24 hours left before the deadline. Are you still talking to folks, John?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this time of year, guys, and I've done this a lot, but everybody's in play. Everything's going on. I think that, we're not anywhere close with anything right now. I think that, our chances of making a deal going forward are probably slim. We're continuing to explore. We're having a lot of conversations, a lot of clubs. There's some guys that we just won't deal and won't even talk about. There's some guys that, even if they're short-termers, that we feel are going to fit us good, as we go forward for the rest of the year. So, we'll continue to talk. We'll continue to grind it. But I don't know that there's a deal out there right now that makes any real sense for us just yet.
John, could you have imagined that at the trading deadline, and we were talking about this over dinner in Philadelphia tonight, that at the deadline, after this trade you just made, looking back at your opening day roster, there are only 4 players remaining on your opening day roster still with the ball club. Talk about turnover. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I think that we said this from the beginning, that we wanted to put a competitive club on the field. First half of the year, this was a competitive, exciting ball club. And I think that, we knew that we were in a division where we weren't necessarily built to win. But I think we've also stayed very true, and tried to do it, is stayed very true to ourselves in doing several things. One is about shedding a lot of payroll to give us flexibility going forward to build a championship club. Number 2, we're always paying attention to what we can do to build our system. And so I think that along the way that, there's just been a lot of player moves that we've had to, I think, get ourselves to that point. And my instincts are we're going to look up at the end of the season, and when we have our meetings, that we're going to say, look, we're much closer to where we wanted to be than we were when we started.
I don't want to get you too excited, but Shelby Miller's pitching tonight. Right now the Braves have the bases loaded, nobody out, and might actually score a run for him with Freddie Freeman out. So try hold your breath.
You're exactly right. Well, I'll tell you what, it would be nice to have Oliveira hitting right behind Freeman, where you've got, they may have to pitch to Freddie a little bit. But, listen, runs have been at a premium. And, listen, we'll take every win that we can take. Shelby, if there's anybody any more deserving of about a blowout 8-10 run game, it's Shelby Miller. This guy's been pitching, with little run support. He's been pitching his heart out. And, look, it's good that Freddie got a knock. I mean, that Shelby got a knock, and the guy may start the train running. I'm looking for a 10-run game here, boy.
That'd be great.
We're ready. Well, look, John, I know you've been working the phones for the last week, certainly the last 24 hours. Go ice your ear, and let's see if the Braves can get a win tonight for you.
All right, sounds good, guys.
Okay.
Good talking to you.
Thanks,
John Hart, President of Baseball Operations for the Braves, joining us by phone from Orlando tonight. 2-1 pitch for Freeman is rolled foul. Your take on John's comments? What struck me, Joe, this is the plan that he talked about when he took the job. They have stuck to the plan. They followed through with the plan.
What jumped out at me was his comment about hitters. It's like he said, we've stockpiled pitchers, and it was paraphrasing, time to start addressing the need for some hitters.
Out of play foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You can obviously hear the excitement in his voice about Oliveira, too, and I can't wait to see him.
3 straight hits for the Braves in the 3rd inning. Freddie Freeman trying to work over Aaron Harang on a hot night. Freddie's first home run came in this ballpark. A long one here would be huge for Shelby Miller. 2-2. He had a late swing and he missed it. Big strikeout for Harang. And there's the first out.
Change up, circle change from Aaron. Boy, was it in a good spot. And again, that's that little nth degree that Freddie is off and being able to stay back against off-speed pitches.
Garcia lined out to left his first time up. That began the Braves' second. One away. And a big swing and a miss. Freddie Gonzalez was telling us before the game that Adonis Garcia played youth ball in Cuba with the newest Braves acquisition when they were 16, 17-year-olds. And as Freddie said, he's been in contact, and our new third baseman was talking about how excited it was that Garcia hit a couple home runs.
He's paying attention.
No balls, 2 strikes. Just missed. It's 1-2.
A lot of cheerleading going on at third base. Shelby Miller. Come on, boys. I'm really close.
Off the tarp foul. It's still 1-2.
If he wants, he could start, yelling at Aaron Harang, trying to get him to throw a wild pitch or something. He'd take that.
Good stop. Really good stop. He almost called it. He tried to oblige you.
Great job by Ruiz. He bounced well out in front of him, but he leaned out over it. Make sure when it did hit his chest protector, it just dropped straight down.
Little tapper back to the mound. Harang with a bare hand will throw to the plate. Miller is forced. Two outs.
Another changeup. You got Ruiz look down to make sure he had his foot on the plate.
A.J. Przinsky bats. He popped out his first and only time up. This is A.J.'s sixth at bat this year with the bases loaded for the Braves. He's 1 for 5. See if he can channel his inner Jace Peterson here. Swings low, 1 ball, no strikes. Those were AJ's career numbers, 8 grand slams. Markakis, Maben, and Garcia, the Braves base runners, but now they're 2 down. And the slider is missed. Even count.
Frustrating thing about Aaron, when he's got good command, he might hit a few bloops, get some to fall in, go through the hole, and then all of a sudden with guys on base, he's got you swinging at balls.
Like that. Brzezinski didn't like it.
AJ's body went through it, but it didn't look like his bat did. Trip Gibson is the umpire at third.
Serve to the left side. At short, Galvis, long throw. Won't get there in time. And A.J. Brzezinski has knocked home Nick Markakis. And Shelby Miller's long pitching nightmare comes to an end. He's got a lead. It's 1-0.
Well, at least it happened on a rocket.
All hands are safe.
A no doubt bullet. And A.J. Brzezinski will take it right off the end of the bat, out of the reach of Franklin, and Galvis trying to do a pop-up slide throw. Couldn't get him.
That falls under the category of put it in play and see what happens. Well, A.J. Brzezinski and the Braves have struck first, and now Chris Johnson bats. Bases are still loaded. 1-0 Atlanta. Another fine stop by Ruiz. Washington won today, 1-0. Scherzer the victory. Jonathan Papelbon picked up the save for the Nationals. And the Mets lost an absolute gut-wrenching game to San Diego today. They had a big lead. They had 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning with the bases empty. Then they had a rain delay. The Padres got 2 singles, and then Justin Upton in a torrential downpour hit a home run to right center field to win it. And so New York drops another game in the standings to the Nationals. They're 3 back and host them this weekend.
Yeah, they had a lot of tarp difficulties in New York today too. And I think they led that game at one point 6-1.
San Diego wins 8-7. Washington 1-0 over Miami. It's 1-0 Braves, and Johnson shoots one toward Brown in right, and he'll make the play, and that retires the side. The Braves got 4 singles, the last an infield hit by A.J. Brzezinski, and the Braves have an early lead.
Stuff, low price every day.
Well as Shelby Miller has pitched this year, that lead might as well be 10.
Yeah.
He's finally got a run to play with, and he'll start the home third with Aaron Harang, then Ben Revere, then Cesar Hernandez for the Phillies. And he missed high, 1 ball, no strikes.
Now Shelby's got to guard against being overexcited with a run to work with.
He did have to run the bases for the bulk of the top of the third inning. Let's see if that has any effect on him tonight. There's a strike. It's 2-1. And that's served inside the first base line fair. Takes that tricky bounce off the right field fence. And Aaron Harang has a hit. So does Shelby Miller. And that's the second Phillies safety of the game.
Swing hard in case you hit it. He did. Just like the Braves in the top of the inning, pitcher leads off with a single. And Freddie Freeman's giving him grief.
Here's Revere. There's some speculation that Ben Revere might be a player a team might try to acquire. Versatile outfielder, leadoff guy. Steal bases for you. He's got 24 of those. As hard as he's hit Braves pitching, I don't think Atlanta would mind missing him the rest of the season. He's got 11 hits. And now nearly a 12th against Braves hurlers this year. No balls, 2 strikes. Mentioned earlier that the Cole Hamels trade for the Phillies. Hamels and Jake Diekman to the Rangers for 5 minor league prospects. That has not yet been ruled an official deal. The framework for the deal is in place. We were told shortly before the game they're still waiting on physicals for a couple of the Texas minor league players. There were some who thought that Cole Hamels might end up any place but Texas.
Yeah, it surprised me. They've got a lot of good young players that help sway the deal, though.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And high. They got a player they think can be an everyday catcher very soon. They got a player they think can be an everyday outfielder soon. Matt Harrison, the former Brave, is apparently coming back in that deal to help offset some of Hamels' salary. And then 2 more minor league pitchers. Boy, oh boy, the price for a frontline starter, rental or not, this trading season was extremely high, wasn't it? Johnny Cueto went to Kansas City for 3 left-handed pitchers. David Price was traded to Toronto today for 3 very good left-handed pitchers. Hamels brought back 5 prospects.
I know the Blue Jays are all in, if you hadn't noticed.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Sharply hit. Simmons played it on a short hop, and that's going to be a double play. Slick fielding by the Braves shortstop. A little bit of a deke there might have frozen Harang, and it certainly appeared to freeze Revere for a second. 2 out.
He got it to second so quickly that Jace was still on the run to get to the bag.
Hernandez laid down a bunt back in the Phillies first. 1-0 Atlanta, home third in Philadelphia tonight. Strike 1.
The other deal the Phillies were able to pull off, sending Jonathan Papelbon to Washington, gets them out from under a huge contract that was going to perhaps vest, that extended it another year. But the bonus to it is that they've already got a guy that can step right in and close, in Ken Giles, who's a terrific looking young pitcher.
Again, with the uncertainty with regards to the entire Phillies management structure other than Andy McPhail, I heard one pundit say that the trade of Cole Hamels and the haul the Phillies got in return might be a trade that might help Ruben Amaro stay as the general manager here. I don't know if all those players are going to turn into stars. Boy, if they do, that'd be wonderful news for the Phillies. 3 balls, 2 strikes for Cesar Hernandez. Swing, he fought it off. They're making Shelby work tonight. His next pitch will be the 55th of the game. He does not yet have a strikeout.
They are really fouling off a lot of good pitches down and in. Used his whole forearm to try to rake something out of the way there on the slope of the mound.
And a base hit is raked to left. Second hit of the inning for the Phillies, third of the game, first for Hernandez.
And Hernandez is now 5 for 6 against Shelby.
Here's Franco. An amateur free agent signee by the Phillies in January of 2010. Runner goes, pitch a strike, throw to second, a strike but late. 15th steal for Hernandez. And now he's in scoring position.
Good crossover step. Good throw by AJ, but it was the jump that did it.
That's out of play, foul to the right. It's 0-2 for 22-year-old Michael Franco out of Azua of the Dominican Republic. Did he go? Yes, he did. And Miller preserves the lead with his first strikeout of the ball game. He's also gotten a double play in support. And the Braves head to the 4th, up 1-0.
with John Hart, I understood it. He said something that was very important, I thought, which was, when I look at the free agent market, I don't see a lot of hitters that I like or are affordable. This Braves team is not a team that can be built around one free agent bat, so they made a choice to get the best available out there, a guy they really, really liked that they could afford.
That's an excellent point, Paul, and that's part of the deal, I think, that deserves a little more discussion as Jace Peterson bats. Remember, Paul, as John Hart said, when they were after Hector Olivera this offseason, the Braves offered roughly $40 million to sign him. The Dodgers got him for $65.5 million, which included a $28 million signing bonus. So that's going to be paid by the Dodgers. That leaves a $34 million difference. Fly ball towards center, and a nice running catch by Herrera retires Peterson, 1 out. If you add in the salaries of Wood and Peraza and Jim Johnson and Luis Avilan and the offset of the dollars that the Dodgers are paying for Bronson Arroyo, some reports are saying that the Braves are going to be responsible for about $22 to $28 million for Hector Olivera, and that covers 5 years of big league contractual time. If he hits 15 home runs or 20 home runs and becomes an everyday player, that is a huge bargain. So strictly from a financial standpoint, you can understand why the Braves were intrigued by this deal. Franco at third. Tough play. Took funny spin and might have rolled foul had he not grabbed it. Braves happy to have an infield hit for Simmons.
Aaron wanted that to let it go with that spin right there when it started going to the line. Oh, that definitely would have gone foul. Thank you. Yes, the contractual terms of that are all great. The unknown is how's he going to do it at the major league level, and we're not going to be able to judge that. Neither is anyone else till he gets here. But all signs point to the fact that he can hit. He can flat out hit.
Miller has a base hit and was forced out at the plate on a tapper by Adonis Garcia back in the third inning. Braves got a 2-out infield hit from A.J. Przinsky with the bases loaded, and that's the only run of the game to this point. Something John Campolella has said time and time to us, as we said in the pregame show, pitching is currency in baseball. And you acquire it, you hope to utilize it, develop it, get it to the big league level, and have success with it. But for the Braves to get what they want, they're going to have to part with some of that pitching currency. And as John Hart said, it was a painful, difficult trade to have to make.
You got a healthy, left-handed, young, contractually controllable pitcher that had a lot of value.
1 ball, 1 strike. Miller shows bunt and taps it back to the mound. Harang will make the peg to first. Miller has a sacrifice. There's the second out. So yeah, Paul, I mean, the Braves are looking for bats. They've got a lot of pitching to offer to get them.
Well, you make a great point, and we all saw the All-Star game where everyone was throwing 97 to 103 miles an hour. It's harder to hit now in this game, and there's just a shortage of good hitting. I really felt that the Braves were going to go out and get a good free agent hitter this offseason and continue to do that. But like I said earlier, they just didn't see a lot of options out there. You're going to have to use those pitchers, that cash currency you talked about, and trade for guys within teams at the right time. And I think this was what this deal came down to, was the right player at the right time.
And one they had heavily scouted and were coveting since the time they saw him after his defection from Cuba.
And as Freddie also talked about, and I believe Carlos Tosca also went down to the Dominican on one of their recruiting trips, and they both have Cuban ties, Freddie and Carlos. So that connection will be a good one too, I think, for Oliveira once he gets here. This is a, compared to where they were last winter trying to sign him and getting him now, they got him at a huge bargain compared to what they were really ready to write a check for.
And that's just from an economic standpoint, you have to be excited about the trade. One ball, no strikes for Nick Markakis. And I think we talked about this when we played the Cubs. You were away for the All-Star break. I think it's going to be fascinating to compare the strategy of the Braves in building their team and building their farm system to that of the Cubs. The Cubs have loaded up on young hitters. The Braves have loaded up on young pitchers. Which team is going to get to and succeed deeply in postseason play first? Maybe they can help each other do that, because it would seem they'd be logical trade partners at some point down the road. Simmons a big lead out at second, and the pitch to Nick is taken low. 3 balls, no strikes. What a great, emotional, warm welcome Nick Markakis got in Baltimore. And a great series. The pitch is taken low. That's ball 4. 2 on, 2 out. Let's send it back to Paul.
The last point, guys, I love what we're talking about. And let's be honest, when you make a trade, you make an educated guess. It's easy to be an armchair quarterback. But what John Hart said was, I expect this guy, no guarantees, to hit 270 to 280 with 20 to 25 home runs and maybe even more. He's in the prime of his career. He's ready now. And if he's able to get close to those numbers, they feel that it's a good trade and something that they could not pass up on. But those are the expectations.
2 on, 2 out. Sharply hit to short. And the flip to second will end the inning, and we head to the Phillies' 4th. Shelby Miller 1, Phillies nothing in Game 1 at Citizens Bank. For August 6th and October 1st games, field passes to see Billy Currington and Sam Hunt up close, and an exclusive Braves Country t-shirt for the low price of $70, a savings of $40 off the regular ticket price. Those ticket packs are limited. Visit braves.com/country and get yours today.
Pretty sunset. After that rain we had earlier, pretty clouds overhead.
Ryan Howard leads off. And that's delivered low. 1 ball, no strikes. It's into the seats, foul, even count. Howard had a nice road trip for the Phillies. 6 hits, 2 homers, 6 RBIs in 5 games. They did a ton of damage to to the Chicago Cubs. They banged out 21 extra base hits against Chicago pitching up at Wrigley Field. All of that lost in the dazzling performance of Cole Hamels, who threw the no-hitter.
That was a good exit strategy.
Phillies won all three in Chicago, split a 2-game series with Toronto. And a check swing to the left side. Simmons backhanded stab, knows Howard's running, and still got him by a good margin.
Ryan Howard still limps.
Sad, isn't it?
Yeah, when he crossed first and he's got to stop, he's still favoring that ankle where he suffered the torn Achilles in the postseason a couple of years ago.
He has given him all he can, but it's just not enough to outrun the baseball. One out. Here's Herrera. He lays down a bunt. This will charge, bare hand, and his throw is late. Herrera reaches with a bunt single. Smart play. Got to keep an eye on him. He's got 9 steals.
Perfect execution. Make it foul or make it a base hit, but he didn't leave the box too soon. He made sure he directed it in the right place.
And that'll bring up Freddie Galvis. He flat out to left, his first and only time up. Close play at first. Miller thought he had Herrera picked off.
Got him leaning, just got back in time.
Different look for Freddie Galvis in his second at bat tonight. Shin guard on. And a line drive almost picked off Herrera. Back-to-back Philly hits.
No problem with the shin that time. But look out, Odubel.
There's Dominic Brown. Told you the Braves and Phillies hook up 4 times here in Citizens Bank. And next week it's going to be an emotional series for the Phillies. The Dodgers are in town, and that means the return of Jimmy Rollins. The Phillies then have a western trip to San Diego, Arizona, and Milwaukee. And a strike.
I bet he gets a similar reception as to what Markakis got in Baltimore. Talking about Rollins.
0-1. Brown almost got hit. Even count. Haven't seen any new faces yet in the Braves bullpen. Told you Jake Brigham is already here. He's added 3 men to the bullpen as far as the roster was concerned today, and we were told those other 2 men would arrive shortly after the game got started. Ben Acree might be downstairs sewing the letters on the backs of the uniforms.
I don't know that he got to sleep last night.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And a shot the other way, a base hit. Now it's the Phillies' turn to have the bases loaded. Brown goes the opposite way. And Carlos Ruiz is up with 1 out.
big, high, hanging breaking ball, and even though it wasn't a strike, it gave him a chance to adjust to it and actually hit it the other way instead of trying to pull it. First pitch, fastball hitter, if you needed a reminder on Ruiz.
He's their team leader in double plays with 11. And he got a fastball and took it. Thank you.
That one had some action on it too. Looked like it was going to start outside and kind of tail back.
Line drive over short, a base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Galvis around third. There'll be no play. And the Phillies, with 4 straight hits, have taken a 2-1 lead. It all started with a bunt single.
That was the same pitch he took earlier, but this time it tailed back into him. Might have been a 2-seamer that he was trying to get to sink and get that ground ball, but he left it up.
So now Shelby has to work from behind. And high, 1 ball, no strikes. Already with a hit tonight. Shows bunt and fouls it back. Now that I think about it, Ben's not on the road trip.
No,
it's Josh Hall who's with us.
Right.
Ben was telling him how to sew the right numbers in the right order.
He told me earlier you run out of thimbles.
Ball, 1 strike. Snap throw back to second.
Oh, Hamilton thinks that Brown got up, took his hand off the bag, and he still had the tag on him.
Did he?
Wanting Freddie to check it, right? There. Absolutely.
He sure did.
Absolutely.
Hand and foot were off the bag, and Simmons tagged him with the baseball in his bare hand.
Right. He's waiting for him. He's watching. He gets it clear. He's out. He's out. Nothing touching the base.
Wow.
Look at. I mean, does Anderson? Does he ever cease to amaze you? I mean, his savvy, his instincts. He's watching for him to do that because he's probably done it before, where without thinking about it, just put your foot on the bag.
And you know what? There's no way with the naked eye the umpire is going to really be able to see that. So with the benefit of replay, do it every time, and there you see it very clearly. Fingers, toes off the bag, ball touching the lower back of Dominic Brown, and that should be the second out of the inning as the Braves are going to challenge the play at second base. He's done something like that 3 or 4 different times this year. Many times with the throw back behind the runner that isn't expected.
Well, it's a hold up. Out. There it is.
And the verdict is in. He's out. So the call is overturned. A brilliant heads-up play by Andrelton Simmons. He races Dominic Brown at second base.
There's just no substitute for that. That's the old saying, you just can't teach that. You can't. It's somebody who's constantly looking for some way to win a ball game.
And that totally changes the inning because Aaron Harang was in the box with one out until Simmons just played heads-up baseball. Dominic Brown, fingers and toes off the bag. He's out. So is Shelby in the bottom of the fourth inning. 2-1 Phillies. As we head to the fifth inning, time for our trivia question brought to you by our friends at AT&T Jewelers. Over the last 5 years, Freddie Freeman is one of 2 players with 15 or more doubles and 40 or more RBIs against the Phillies. Name the other player to achieve those numbers.
Okay, I'm going to read that more thoroughly than I did last night. I had one pulled over our eyes on the Nick Markakis thing.
So 2 players with 15 or better doubles and 40 or more RBIs against the Phillies over the last 5 years.
And that's the Philadelphia Phillies, right?
Yeah, I think so. But you never know. Pitch on the way to Freddie Freeman. And 1 ball, no strikes. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout tonight. Play. Cubs are in Milwaukee tonight. That's scoreless in the second. Carlos Gomez did get traded, apparently, but not to the Mets. He and Mike Fiers are on their way to Houston to join the Astros. Pop. And that's on top of the Braves dugout. Cardinals are home and leading the Rockies 4-1 in the fourth inning. St. Louis made a move. They added Brendan Moss, who came over from the Indians from minor league left-handed pitcher. But for St. Louis, Joe, it's a good news, bad news day. Good news is they addressed their first base situation. Bad news is Matt Holliday's hurt again.
Yeah, so that acquisition was timely. It's just a matter of how long is Holliday going to be out. I saw him collapsed in the dugout after he'd come back from re-injuring that quad muscle, trying to leg out a ground ball in the first inning. Looked bad.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and Freeman fouls it away. It was termed a grade 2 strain of the quadriceps. There was some tearing involved, but again, how bad that is and how long it'll Sideline holiday remains to be seen. If it's a long time, that's a big loss for St. Louis.
Sure is.
Freeman shoots one toward right, and that'll get down in front of Dominic Brown. So leadoff hit for Freeman. That's how the Braves' fifth starts. And here's Adonis Garcia.
Ruiz has a quick catch and release. Harang pretty much uses a slide step to the plate, but didn't there. But he's pretty quick.
Even count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Adonis was fooled to hear him hollering in frustration after he committed to the pitch.
Slider. And again, he can throw that slider soft, hard, in between.
And then a fastball throws him. 1 out. First, make that second strikeout for Aaron Harang, I beg your pardon.
And watch this pitch back up. Started it away and had it come back on our PNC Bank Fox tracks.
A.J. Pierzynski was down to his final strike in the 3rd inning before he served one to the left side for an infield hit. That's the only Braves run. Line drive right. Brown cuts it off. Freeman stops at second, and Pierzynski's 2 for 3.
He's had a good road trip. It makes him 8 for 19 on the trip. Oh man, he just went down and raked that. Stayed right on it.
The Braves have 9 hits tonight. All of them singles. Chris Johnson has one of them. He was back in the 2nd inning. The only Brave who has started tonight that does not have a hit is Adonis Garcia. Galvis needs to get the dirt out of his shoes. Chris couldn't stop himself. 2 balls and a strike.
Even on a hitter's count, of course, 2-0. He's looking for something really good to drive, and on that off-speed pitch, pitching him backwards. Chris couldn't lay off.
Swinging a high pop toward left. Revere has room shy of the track, and that's the second out. And now Jace Peterson, the final hope for the Braves in the top of the fifth.
Anytime there's a high fly ball like that hit to left, you just assume it's going to go out in this ballpark. Managers hold their breath, so do the pitchers. That one stayed in. Not much wind here tonight.
Ball one. Freeman and Przinsky, the Braves base runners, down 2-1. And Rank thought that was good enough. And Mr. Welke haven't seen eye to eye over the last couple of innings. Actually, Mr. Gorman, Brian Gorman, I beg your pardon. Not seen eye to eye the last couple of times the Braves have been up. 2 balls, no strikes. That's well out of play. 2-1.
Some of the funny swings tonight from the Braves left-handed hitters have been on balls that have been in.
Let's see what Harang has in mind. 2-2. Ruiz blocked it. It's a full count. And now a bit of an advantage for the Braves base runners. Freeman and Przinsky, they can run with the pitch.
And Aaron Harang has an assortment he can pick from for this pitch.
Runners go. And it's strike 3, letter high inside corner, and Peterson's rung up, and the Braves are out of luck in the 5th inning. 2-1 Phillies. 25th and July 30th, 1999, our own Paul Byrd on the mound. Not once, but twice hit Eddie Perez with a pitch.
And then it was on. Now here on this scrum at the pile, in the back of the pile, right? Oh, they get to watch it. I don't know why. Right there at the end, Ryan Klesko comes in at the end and starts, we'll say, lightening up the pile on you, Paul. It was getting lighter.
Guys, I just realized that Eddie Perez actually hit me. I thought he missed, and we locked up. I had no mark on my face, but I had tons of cleat marks on my leg. And the coolest thing about that story, one of my best friends on the Braves, he held up the pile so that I could breathe on the bottom. And I don't know, guys, I guess this thing's like the Christmas story, and we got to watch it every year.
Eddie was holding the pile up?
He was, because none of us could breathe. Kurt Schilling was right next to me. We were all gasping for air, and it was one of the worst feelings of my life because we couldn't breathe. I don't know what happened with Eddie Perez, but he had superhuman strength and pushed the pile up so we could all breathe. It was a really cool moment from a great friend, and sometimes that just happens in baseball, and we're still really good friends now today. And don't forget that I won that game. John Smoltz, as you could see, got kicked out with a vein sticking out of his neck. But I was able to come back and win that game, and let's not lose sight of that. Bird Smoltz 1-0, and he had trouble driving me home afterwards.
Well, I saw Eddie before the game, Paul, and he had seen something that gave him a tip that it was the anniversary of that, and he goes, are we going to do that again? And I said, well, either that or we can have Paul and you come in here and reenact it in the hall in the clubhouse.
There will be no Eddie Perez, Paul Byrd #2. We're too old. This is not like the Rocky saga.
I was just thinking a bobblehead.
That would be a great bobblehead.
I like it. I like it. Never thought of that. Great idea.
This is Cesar Hernandez with one out, bases empty, and that one right back through the middle.
Man, he is wearing Shelby out. That is 6 for 7. Not a bad pitch either.
So a man aboard with one out. And Michael Franco is 0 for 2 in the game. Phillies got a scare a week ago or so. He complained about a sore elbow after he made a throw across the diamond. But all's well for the young Phillies third baseman. Again, we're catching the Phillies at a real bad time. It's the oldest saying in any sport, not who you play, but when you play them. The Phillies have won 9 of 11 games. And a strike. Phillies are doing it with excellent pitching. Their ERA in that stretch, 3.24. They're averaging nearly 5 runs a game in those 11 played since the break. And tonight, 2 runs is enough to lead Shelby Miller. Up the middle, Simmons can't get it. Franco has a hit. The Phillies will play it station to station. They've got 2 more on and 1 man out. 4 hits last inning for the Phillies, 2 here in the 5th.
They're doing a good job of putting them back to back, aren't they? Fastball came back to him. Using the middle of the diamond. He's having a good season. Hitting 280. A little over 280 when he came into play tonight.
That's a reason for the Phillies to be excited, and their fans too. A young player who's doing good things in his first major league season. As Howard digs in, he's walked and grounded out to short. And would love another ground ball here from the Phillies first baseman. This is Howard's 165th career game against the Braves. He's hit 50 homers and knocked in 141 men in what is essentially a full major league season's worth of work. And a broken bat is over short and into center field. Here comes Hernandez around third. Maven loads up. His throw is going to be cut off. Freddie couldn't get a handle, and the Phillies added the lead, and they've got him first and third. Ryan Howard does it again.
All year long, the Phillies have struggled to hit. Not during the last 11 games plus tonight. That's another, like a changeup going down and away from him, and he was all over it.
That's Howard's 8th RBI against the Braves this year, and his 55th of the season. And Ross Detweiler is the first man to loosen in the Braves bullpen. I think folks forget about Ryan Howard and what was considered to be a bad year for him last year. Yes, he had a low batting average of .223. But Howard still hit 23 homers and drove in 95 men. No balls at a strike. Odubel Herrera, the hitter. Rip, but back to the screen. One ball, 2 strikes.
Continuing problem for Shelby tonight has been fastball location. That pitch was supposed to be a fastball in, and it was, if a strike, barely a strike at best, running off the plate outside. Target in, ball running away. That would have been a really good pitch had it started in and run back over the inside corner.
Missed the corner. 2-2. Braves gave Miller a 1-0 lead in the 3rd inning. 4 singles plated the only Atlanta run. Phillies have 2 in the 4th, 1 so far in the 5th. Now Shelby's run the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Shelby has sweated through his jersey top. And his 89th pitch is a beauty. Herrera didn't get a breaking ball, and that's a big second out. That's 4 strikeouts for Miller.
Needed that. Needed to cut this inning short after those consecutive hits. Again, Herrera still aggressive, still a little wild, chasing that one.
Inside, ball 1. Popped him up. Andrelton backpedaling. And he will give way. Adonis Garcia called him off. And that retires the side. Phillies had a run. They lead 3-1 now, heading to the 6th. Want you to help select the most memorable moment in Braves history. Through the end of the season, Braves.com/A50 will feature a new memorable moment matchup, and you'll be able to vote on it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Visit Braves.com/A50 and relive your favorite Atlanta Braves moments. The Phillies have to be thrilled with 5 innings of one-run ball by Aaron Harang, and he'll be taken down after allowing 9 Atlanta hits.
Elvis Araujo is the new pitcher. Lefty, as you see, 1-1, 3.81 ERA in 28 games on the year. 277 batting average against. And I agree with you that first time on the mound since July 1st. You ought to be thrilled with Harang's 1-run effort.
So Andrelton Simmons will lead things off. Different look after Harang threw 96 pitches tonight. And Araujo missed with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Araujo is 24 years old now. He's out of Maracaibo, Venezuela. He was with the Indians. Phillies got him as a free agent after last season. He started pitching professionally in 2008, then missed 2 seasons. 2009 with an elbow sprain, 2010 after going through Tommy John surgery.
He's got a good fastball, 93 to 95 with a slider.
A strike. It's 3-1. Shelby Miller's on deck. Real bad second, it appears. Then Nick Markakis. And a full count now. His bullpen's been very good during this stretch after the All-Star break. Frankly, they've been pretty good all year long. A 3.62 team relief ERA, a 2.09 in the last 11 games. Just 9 earned runs.
One of the things that's really been helping their bullpen too has been that their starters are getting to the 7th on many occasions to shorten the game up for them.
Full count pitch. Bounced off the plate. And with all the dealing that's been done between the Braves and Phillies, on the press notes tonight, neither PR staff has listed who's starting the game.
Yeah.
It's really anybody's guess. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And popped up. Hernandez drifts out and puts the squeeze on that. 1 down.
See, I think we ought to just tape our opening comments for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just tape it tonight. And you can just open it up and say, we have no idea who's pitching tonight. But it should be a good ball game.
Well, it could be like that classic De La Rosa matchup.
Yeah.
TBA versus TBA.
Well, we're either going to have a lefty or a righty going tonight. We're not sure.
Flip the coin.
That'd be professional broadcasting.
As Shelby goes to work and takes upstairs. Let's talk a little more about Fultonevich's start yesterday in Baltimore. I know you were very, very excited about what he did, even though it was a losing effort. These are important days, quite obviously. Braves are trying to win every game they play, as are the Phillies, but these are also chances to audition for the rest of this year in 2016.
No question. And I wasn't the only one raving about him. His manager and pitching coach, teammates were all talking about what Fultonevich did last night. Stuff was electric.
There is a lot to like with that young man's pitching arsenal. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Miller took one for knees. Didn't think so, but he'll take a left turn. 2 outs. Last night, Fultonevich, 6 innings of 6 hit, 2-run, 8 strikeout ball. He was ambushed 1 by Jonathan Scope. First pitch home run. And then he sort of threw a spinning breaking ball that J.J. Hardy lifted out to left.
Right.
That was it.
That ball's an out at Turner Field that Hardy hit. But it was a hanging breaking ball, not to minimize that. But after that, well, he got busy with that fastball, tied his career high with 8 strikeouts. Struck out the side in his last inning.
No balls and a strike. Markakis trying to extend what's a very good run. We'll show you that on our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
321 average over that stretch.
Strike 3. An electric fastball at 95 miles an hour. Arroyo strikes out 2 in his first inning in relief. 3-1 Phillies in front. photo, use hashtag SouthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by our friends at T-Mobile. Kind of like to see a fan photo as this ball is hammered toward right, and that's going to go. Dominic Brown has hit his first home run. A line shot to right. He's got 12 hits in his last 27 at-bats. Maybe he's starting to figure things out again. And the Phillies extend the lead.
Oh, hanging change-up. Yikes. That's like a batting practice pitch. Silent treatment.
Another fly ball to right, but this one's playable for Markakis. And there's the first out. So a smile for Dominic Brown, a home run, a long time in coming. And the Phillies lead by 3 now. Cody Ashe's going to pinch hit for Arroyo. Been an interesting year for Cody Ashe. Remember, he started the year at third base for them. He's been converted to left field now that Michael Franco is ready. "77 games for Ashe. He had a good road trip. 6 hits, 5 RBIs in 4 games played. Boy, he doesn't like facing the Braves.
No. They've had his number for a couple of years.
In 34 lifetime games against the Braves, Cody Ashe is a .116 hitter. This year, he's 2 for 26 against the Braves. And foul back to the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Up foul. Whenever Chase Utley is finished as a player in Philadelphia or perhaps elsewhere, the way this guy takes his batting stance will probably remind Phillies of him for a long, long time.
Probably right. That'd be a nice reminder too.
Foul at the plate. He's been on the disabled list since June 24th with right ankle inflammation. No timetable yet for his return. As Ashe hits a ground ball to short, Simmons has it. Low throw, but Freddie stretched out to get it. And here's out number 2.
Let's check out the Braves bullpen. They've got some action working out there. It was Detweiler earlier. It still is. I was just scanning to see if there are any more new bodies out there. Nope. That weather that came through here may have delayed the arrivals of Ryan Kelly and Matt Marksberry, who was a 15th round pick by the Braves 2 years ago out of Campbell University.
And Marksberry, when he debuts, will become the first member of the Braves 2013 draft class to play in the major leagues. And we also have found out that it will be Williams Perez who starts tomorrow night for Atlanta.
Oh, so you did know who's pitching tomorrow?
No, I just got the note from Adrian right there.
Oh, I thought you were like holding out or something.
Oh,
so that we could tape that, and you were going.
Well,
yes,
actually, Joe, it's Williams. And outside. See, if I remember correctly, and perhaps it's changed by now. 51 different players, 29 different pitchers have worn the Braves uniform this year. Hard to keep up. Those are both, I think, records for Atlanta.
Yes.
2-1 pitch. And another chance for Simmons. He's got it, and his throw to first is a beaut. That'll retire the side, but a big blow from Dominic Brown, a line drive homer into the seats in right. We head to the 7th. Tonight's Lexus game summary.
Pretty simple, actually. Shelby Miller finally got a run to work with, but it didn't hold up long as the Phillies put 2 on the board in the 4th and singles in the 5th and 6th. Aaron Harang, fresh off the disabled list, 5 innings with only the 1 run allowed. Braves had bases loaded, nobody out in the 3rd inning, but only able to muster 1 run.
This is Jonmar Gomez. He's the 3rd Phillies pitcher of the night. Good ERA, good strikeout to walk ratio, and the opponent's hitting .254 against him.
Fastball, slider, change, low 90s.
Braves have the right guys up at the right time. Need a big inning. Down 3 runs in the 7th. Maben, Freeman, and Garcia, the hitters. And a strike. Cameron's hit came in the 3rd inning. It's the frame Joe was talking about. Bases loaded and nobody out. That's a little tapper. That might turn to goal. Franco made a great play to make it close. But Maben beats the wrap, and there's a good start to the 7th. A 2-hit night for Maben.
It's a good thing Cameron came busting it out of the box, because you're right. Franklin made a terrific play on this and really put a lot on the throw. So a good start to the inning.
And Freddie Freeman's the hitter. He had a leadoff single in the 5th. Five runs, 20 hits combined tonight. And of the 20 hits, only 1 is an extra base hit. That was the home run hit to right field by Dominic Brown. Ground ball. Howard's got it. Peg to second one. Throw to first. Double play. Gomez, a nice job to get to the bag. Howard doesn't move well, but being a left-hand throwing first baseman really helped him make that play. 2 out.
And able to get to it to his right, going towards second base, gave Galvis a good feed.
So the bases are empty for Adonis Garcia. He's the only Brave starter without a hit tonight. And that includes pitcher Shelby Miller. Ball, no strikes. Toronto's winning tonight, 5-2 in the 8th inning. Big news there. Toronto acquired David Price today. As Joe said, and rightly so, they are making a big push to get to the playoffs. It's been 20-something years since Toronto's been in postseason play. I believe that's the longest active playoff drought in the big leagues.
And Tulowitzki shows up last night against these Phillies in an 0-for-20 funk.
Really?
And hit a homer and 2 doubles.
There's a strike. 2-1 your count. Baltimore is trying to come back at home, trailing 9-4 to the Tigers. That game's in the 6th inning. Baltimore still looking for a bat. White Sox lead the Red Sox 2-1 in the 5th. White Sox might be adding. They have gotten on an unbelievable roll.
They're close to the wild card spots.
The Southsiders in Chicago have won 7 straight. They're 2.5 games behind the Twins for the second wild card. 3-1. Bouncing ball, foul. And out of play, it's now full count. I don't know if I'd want to be a major league general manager nowadays or not with the second wild card. Are you really in it or are you really out of it? It's going to be awfully difficult to evaluate where your team truly is.
I think all you have to do is look at the Kansas City Royals and the San Francisco Giants a year ago, and if you're close, you got to think you're in.
Yeah.
Both those teams went to the World Series as wild card entrants.
If you got Chris Sale pitching for you in game 1 of a 1-game shootout, you like the chances, don't you?
Sir.
And that's high and tight. Ball 4. A 2-out walk to Garcia brings up A.J. Pierzynski. Of course, the White Sox fans a little sensitive about being close to a potential playoff spot. They had years ago what was infamously known as the white flag trade, where they dumped all their players to the Giants. They were 3-4 games out of a playoff spot near the deadline and said, we're not good enough to win the World Series. We're pulling the plug. But they've got about 18 hours to pull off something in the non-waiver portion of the trade deadline to improve their lot in the AL Central. You know what Hawk Harrelson's saying? Get us some players. You know? And here's AJ. He has the lone Braves RBI. 1 ball, no strikes. Back to the mound, and that's going to end the inning. Promising start, but a double play and a comebacker sends us to the stretch.
there all year, and you build relationships, you build friendships, and it's always tough to see them leave. And obviously, you wish them the best, obviously all the success over there, but this is obviously tough as a personal standpoint.
Well, guys, unfortunately, you can't always determine the timing of the trade, and Alex Wood found out today on the bus coming over to the field, sitting next to Freddie Freeman. It was very emotional for him. He was upset. He did get over it after talking to Freddie Gonzalez, but I thought it was very interesting that the leader, Freddie Freeman, stood up and spoke about not so much what a great pitcher he was or is, but what a great teammate and friend. And unfortunately, that's just the tough part of the game. Clubhouse very, very somber today. They know they have a job to do. They got to get back out on the field. But it was tough to lose Alex Wood, and out of the 3 guys traded, he had the toughest time with it. But we've all got to bounce back. As you know, Chip and Joe, in this game, that's just the way it goes.
Part of the game, Paul. And when 3 guys leave your ball club on one day, that's a lot. That's a huge change.
The positive side for all of those guys is the big leap in the standings they're going to make. All of a sudden, Luis Avila, Jim Johnson, and Alex Wood are going to be thrust in the middle of a pennant race, where the Dodgers lead the Giants by 1/2 game in the National League West. This is Ross Detweiler on for the 7th inning, and he's got a good fastball. And Hernandez missed it. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's got a little scare with Detweiler the other day. A comebacker ricocheted off his shin, but he said the leg is fine. He's the first lefty out of the pen for the Braves tonight. Shelby Miller, 6 innings, 11 hits, 4 runs, including a homer. Mark Bowman had a storyline. Just the 2nd time in 84 career starts that Shelby Miller's allowed 10 or more hits. The other time was 3 weeks ago in Denver against the Rockies. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fanatic doing his thing above the Phillies dugout. Now the 2-2 pitch is right there, strike 3. Fanatic didn't like that call. Neither did Hernandez. Good start for the Braves relief corps, something that's been going well for Atlanta of late. You'll see that on our Home Depot tools from the dugout.
Since the All-Star break, Braves are the 3rd best ERA among bullpens in the National League, behind the Giants and Cardinals. Cardinals at the top of their division. The Giants right there with the Dodgers in the West. Philadelphia's pitched great too, which is part of why, as you said, Chip, why they're 9-2 here to start after the break.
Bounces up there, 1 ball, no strikes.
I was just thinking about the deal from the Dodgers side. They get 3 players from the Braves that will go right on their roster. And they get Latos, who will go on their roster. They've designated for assignment Morse. He's not going to be on the club. I'm sure they're going to send Peraza to the minor leagues, etc. That's 4 guys out of your 25 that they've got on their team that are brand new.
And they've got to fit him in seamlessly.
And they're in first place.
Yeah, right. The other thing about it, too, when you talk about the money in baseball, the Dodgers absorbed $42 million in payroll obligations to pull off the trade. Chris gives ground at 3rd. He's got a long throw, and Freeman dug it out. Good play to retire Franco for out number 2. And from LA's perspective, money is no object with the giant TV deal and drawing well over 3 million fans every single season.
That is 1 long throw. Nice play by Johnson.
Who will now trot across the diamond and play the rover position, with Ryan Howard awaiting a defensive shift. Howard has an RBI hit. He's walked and grounded out to short. He's He's going to bounce that ball slowly towards second. Peterson's got it. The underhand shovel is in plenty of time. Good inning indeed. Off we go to the 8th. Got to get some offense. Braves are down 3 after 7.
In-touch system with $1,800 in free equipment, including an exterior camera and touchscreen door lock. Please visit cpisecurity.com.
Hey, the Fanatic's not a dummy. They're playing Shut Up and Dance With Me. And he's having a good time tonight here in Philadelphia. As we promised you earlier tonight, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to #South. Data Strong fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
That's a good one, Jonathan.
This is Luis Garcia. He is the 4th Phillies pitcher.
Well, they knew they weren't going to get a long outing from Aaron Harang, so it was going to be 5 and fly and then rely on this good bullpen that has been putting up good numbers. Garcia, upper 90s fastball and a slider.
In the 8th, Chris Johnson, Jace Peterson, Andrelton Simmons are coming up.
We talk a lot about bullpens and how it seems like everybody's got somebody throwing 95 to 100. And there are some guys that you, like Luis Garcia, that you may not have paid attention to or heard about. And since you're not a Phillies fan, I wouldn't think, unless you're a Phillies fan, I wouldn't think you would know about it.
Well, when you've only won 38 games, any attention you get is going to be negative. They're not going to show him pitching. They're going to show Papelbon finishing it off, or Hamels, or the big offensive output.
Well, and they got the big hammer out there that's been waiting for this opportunity now that Papelbon's gone. Ken Giles, who can run it up there close to 100.
So that logjam has been lifted for the Phillies, and the economics of the Papelbon contract. My understanding of the deal is the Phillies are covering Papelbon's salary for the rest of this year. His contract vests if he completes or finishes a set number of games. I think it's 15 more, 20 more.
It's not very many.
Right.
I think it's 10 to 15.
So maybe you're right. In all probability, he's going to pitch well enough to close that many games for the Nationals, who all of a sudden now have a closer controversy of their own to deal with, because Drew Storen was terrific in the 9th inning for Washington. As this one's popped up towards second, Hernandez drifts back, and he's going to make the play for the first out. I guess the question for Washington, if they earn their way to the playoffs, is Drew Storen's famous or infamous meltdown in postseason play enough to scare the Nationals into their reasoning behind getting Papelbon?
I don't know. It could have been. It could have been, but he's done such a good job this year. That surprised me. Aren't you glad you bought that jersey, sir?
Peterson didn't get it. That was running in on his hands. Strike one. Now the outer half is golden. 0-2. Lifted toward left. Revere is going to track it down. And Garcia made Chase Peterson out number 2. (4-1) Philadelphia. They got 2 in the 4th to erase a brief 1-0 Atlanta lead. The Phillies added a run in the 5th on a base hit by Ryan Howard. Dominic Brown's first homer since last September added the final Philly tally. They have 4 runs on 11 hits. The Braves 1 run on 10 hits. You're seeing a lot of baseballs being bounced off the plate tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, Harang certainly with his sinker, he's going to get a lot of that. We saw a lot of comebackers from the Braves against Baltimore. Some of that was being a little tardy.
To center. And Herrera's got that measured up. The Phillies bullpen is dealing again tonight. They have pitched 3 innings of 1-hit ball, and they've preserved a 4-1 lead into the home 8th. Mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widgets, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Big news for the Braves today. Their 3-team trade, and whom they acquired is our Zaxby's indescribably good play.
Infielder Hector Olivera, you heard a lot about him from Cuba. 19 games in the minor leagues for the Dodgers before some injuries slowed him down, but some good numbers. Paco Rodriguez, you may have seen him pitch before for the Dodgers. We certainly have, out of the University of Florida. And the 15th overall prospect for the Dodgers, Zach Bird, who this year was pitching in A-ball.
We appreciate John Hart joining us in the top of the third inning tonight. As he mentioned, and Joe did as well, Oliveira's got a very slight hamstring issue. Braves are hoping to get him back on the field 7 to 10 days, and he's a man we might see sometime mid-August. But John Hart made no bones about it. He feels that Hector Oliveira is a offensive cornerstone type player that can help balance out the great amount of pitching that the Braves have amassed since last offseason.
It's quite a roster. I tell you what I would like to know next is, once all this calms down and the deadline comes and goes, is an update on some of these guys like Fried, Winkler, Mike Minor. How are these guys doing? What is the plan for them on their rehab, and when will they start throwing again?
Chris Withrow, guy that we got from the Dodgers with a big arm, has closer type stuff that we've seen before. Alex Smith, what he's been doing at AAA, it's not an injured player, but guys like that.
Well, we've been getting those reports. I mean, we see those every day on the game notes in terms of when they have good nights,
right?
And certainly when they've been promoted. These other guys we've heard so much about that we don't know what their progress is on their rehab.
Jake Brigham back in the big leagues. He's one of the really nice stories for the Braves this year. All those seasons in the minor leagues, and finally a chance to get to the show and pitch. Full count. And Herrera is still alive. Herrera had a very important at bat in this ball game. It may seem like a meaningless one, but in the first inning it took Shelby Miller 10 pitches to retire him. I don't know if that took a little starch out of Shelby's arm tonight. He had a long 23-24 pitch first inning.
Yeah, it was hot and humid after that rain too early in the game.
And here he is again, spoiling some pitchers' pitches. And there is Ken Giles. Man, at first glance, you look at him facially, it looks like Brad Lidge.
He does.
In the Phillies championship season was perfect in the save department. Swing and a miss. Detweiler retires Herrera, who's down on strikes for a second time. 4 up, 4 down for Ross.
Yeah, looks good. 2 strikeouts. There's another guy out of the Phillies bullpen that's in that deal with Hamels once it's completed. Jake Diekman. And he's got a big arm, left-hander. He's wild, but if the Rangers can figure out a way to corral him, he is outstanding in terms of how he can bring it.
Well, Texas, with the trade and the acquisition of Hamels, they're 8 games out of first in the West and 4 games under 500. But if all goes well for them in the offseason, you've got Yu Darvish and you've got Cole Hamels 1-2 in your rotation. That's
Holland.
Pretty good. Yeah, Holland too. Two balls, no strikes. And a comebacker off Detweiler's glove. That's going to slow the ball down and turn into a hit. If it sticks, it's an out. It didn't. And Galvis aboard with his second hit of the night.
If it misses his glove, it might be an out.
Good point.
He kind of shoved it even higher up in the air to slow it down. You know, the thing on Hamels also, we were hearing all these teams that might be involved. And I didn't dismiss Texas because I knew they had some really good prospects. But I think what surprised me about it was that
just short. And the Braves turn 2 on this. Peterson across the bag, not in time.
I think what surprised me was that Hamill said okay to that, to Texas.
Well, we were told before the game, or I was, they approached Hamels about going to Toronto. He said no. They went to him and said, would you like to go to Houston? We've got to deal with the Astros. He said no. Texas was apparently not on the list of teams that he could deny a trade to. So Texas was next in line. They swooped in and got it.
I didn't know if he had a no trade thing that he was willing to waive, but only on his choice. So that was kind of what surprised me.
Yeah, me too. Detweiler out. Good work by Ross. An inning and 2/3, and it's Jake Brigham to try to end the 8th.
And your local Ford dealer.
Joe and Chip from Philadelphia. Unfortunately, the Phillies lead game 1. 4-1 is your score. There are 2 outs, however, in the bottom of the 8th inning. Time to answer our AT&T Universe trivia question. Last 5 seasons, Freddie Freeman, one of 2 players in the big leagues with 15 or more doubles and 40 or more RBIs against the Phillies. Who's the other player?
I'm going to say Ryan Zimmerman.
That's a good guess. I'll say Giancarlo Stanton. Just to shake it up a bit.
I always pick David Wright, and I'm never right. That figures.
You got to put him on your go-to.
Yeah, he always is. And I shook it up this time.
Right. Well, David Wright's resuming baseball activities. The Mets would love to get him back. Here's Carlos Ruiz. Jake Brigham is on to pitch. As I mentioned earlier, Joe, this is a real nice story. Talk about perseverance. Brigham had plenty of that as he survived many a minor league year.
Second recall to the Braves. He made his major league debut a month ago tonight.
The Browns had a good night. He's homered, singled, and knocked in a run. He stands at first for Ruiz, who had a 2-run scoring hit in the 4th. A lead the Phillies have not given back. That's right off the end of the bat. And the throw to first is in time, and it's last call for Atlanta in the 9th inning. 9-1-2 is due for Freddie Gonzalez. Phillies lead by 3. in town. Join us at Turner Field for autographs on Friday from Braves Hall of Famers John Smoltz, Bobby Cox, and Chipper Jones. Then Saturday, the first 20,000 fans who attend get a 1995 World Series replica ring. Get to the ballpark early Saturday. It's the ever popular and 6th annual Legends softball game. For tickets, go to Braves.com.
Toyota key play of the game. How about this? Pick off a 10th. Well, wait a minute. Dominic Brown, did you get off the bag? Yes, you did, but don't ever do that with Andrelton Simmons standing around with the ball in his hand. They reviewed it, made the right call, and Andrelton very proud of himself, as he should have been.
So it's 4-1 after 8. And with the trade of Jonathan Papelbon to the Nationals, that means Ken Giles ascends into the closer's role.
And you might as well get used to seeing him. He's going to be around a while for these guys, provided he stays healthy. 95 to 98 fastball and a slider. 54 strikeouts in 44 innings. He can bring it. .6'2", 205 out of Albuquerque. He lives in Phoenix now.
His first save of the season came on July 28th. It was the second of his career. And that's what's got the crowd oohing and eyeing. Triple digits. They had a little left-handed reliever here in Phillies colors a few years ago that could hit 100 miles an hour regularly, and he pitched for the Braves too. Billy Wagner. That one 101.
7th round pick out of Yavapai Junior College in Arizona.
Right back where it came from. Yuri Perez with a pinch hit.
He's throwing 101 miles an hour, and then he decides, I'm going to show him my breaking ball.
I'm going to trick him.
And almost ate it.
Oh, don't put that pitching hand up there. Giles lucky to escape.
Kind of goes to what we were talking about with Fulton Evans last night. Until they figure out a way to hit it, why mess around? But thank you.
So there's the start to the inning. And Markakis fouled it back. With his base hit in the 3rd inning, Markakis extended his hitting streak to 7 games.
Giles first got to the big leagues last year after starting in Double-A. Spent a little time in Triple-A, and then with the Phillies in 44 games, 45 innings pitched, 64 strikeouts, and only 11 walks. I think he made a big impression last year.
Runner goes, and Markakis fouled it away. Well, it sounds simplistic to say, but it's worth repeating. It's something you've talked about a lot. Part of what goes into the mentality of a closer, and really one of the biggest obligations of the job. Throw strikes. Can't walk people.
And he can.
If Perez wants to take second, the Phillies are going to oblige him. He holds that time as Nick sprayed it foul. It's still 1-2. Braves have a single run tonight, their 10th run in total on the road trip. This is the 7th game on this 10-day trip to St. Louis, Baltimore, and now Philadelphia. There's a base hit to right. Perez had to hold for a moment, and the Braves have something cooking in the 9th. Hits are even at 12. And just like that, Cameron Maybin's going to step in and he'll represent the tying run.
All right, that was a fastball, 100 miles an hour. Quick swing by Nick. So now maybe he will have to figure out another pitch. How many times this year so far have the Braves been down a run or two or three, even four in the ninth inning, and figure out a way to bring the tying run to the plate?
Well, they've had a lot of hits. They've bunched them together, but haven't been able to put a crooked number up yet. Maybin has some pop. He's hit 8 homers. He's knocked in 47. Fast runner at second base in the form of Yuri Perez. Good pitch. Didn't mean to, but it's out of play. Still 0-2.
Yeah, it stays alive anyway. And got to be, if you're Cameron, you've got to be ready for the fastball. You can't guess breaking ball or slider here.
Protected the plate again. Here comes another 0-2 pitch. And it's a swinging bunt right in front of the plate. Ruiz stumbled over the bat and still made the play.
Seen that before.
Wow, what concentration by Ruiz. Base runner, baseball, mask, and bat.
No hitter. Roy Halladay, 2 out, 9th inning. Brandon Phillips, same thing. Bat was in the way, and Ruiz played it the same way, going to his knees to record the last out on a play very similar to this.
Wow. Well, the runners advance on the out. Second and third for Freddie Freeman. Popped up over the Braves dugout. Mentioned Roy Halladay. That's the man against whom Freddie Freeman hit his first big league homer in this ballpark. How great would it be to see him launch one into the Phillies bullpen here and turn the game around? 4-1 is your score. He's the tying run at the plate. He was thinking about it right there. Got a slider. Swing and a miss. He doubled up on the breaking ball, and Freeman is struck out, and Garcia the final Braves hope.
It's not a sharp breaker, but it's enough of a change off on the speed from 100 or 99 down to 88. But that's enough to fool you.
Wild swing by Garcia on a ball in the dirt.
How many good stops has he already made tonight?
3 or 4
with guys on base.
No balls, 1 strike. just off the plate.
See Adonis up off the knob of the bat a little bit.
A walk would be nice. You know, A.J. Przinsky can hit a fastball. He's the next in line for Atlanta.
Well, that home run that Adonis hit in Baltimore off Zach Britton was a fastball too that he took the other way.
Now the crowd on its feet. Phillies are a strike away from their 10th win in their last 12 games.
And 100 miles an hour up there is impossible.
The 2-2 pitch. The Braves are still alive. That is a foul ball past third. Giles trying to earn the save, trying to snap Harang's 8-game individual losing streak. Braves hoping to somehow, some way rise off the deck and prevent Shelby Miller's eighth loss. They're making Giles work here in the top of the ninth. Strike three called, and that's your ball game. Garcia didn't think much of the call, but that's the ball game. And the Phillies have indeed won their 10th out of 12 after the break. They beat the Braves 4-1 tonight. Aaron Harang has allowed 1 run in 19 innings against his former team this year. He earns his 5th win. Shelby Miller loses, is now 5-8. And 21,706 saw the Phillies win game 1 of 4 here at Citizens Bank Park. Back with more from Philly. 4-1 Phillies win it tonight.